here, for those who don't make it. I want to talk a bit today about clarity and focus. And both of these come, so I'm going to ask you to kind of mute yourself. Oh, there's Val. Okay, Val, quick. We're just going to share a success before we get started. So what's one of your successes?
I just booked 10 discovery session.
Ah! Awesome. There we go. That's the way to roll. Good one. Okay. Yeah, so I want to talk about clarity and focus today. And I want your input. Yes, I'm going to talk, but I want feedback from you guys about, so what does clarity mean to you, and what does focus mean to you? And so let's have a bit of a discussion before we get started. So, or to get started, should I say. So, you know, kind of unmute yourself, either raise your hand or just start in there. Go ahead. Was that Doreen? You had something?
No, it was my, I guess, but I can get started. For me, clarity means that whatever course of action feels right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of, it's hard to say at times, or describing what that feeling is, because it doesn't mean it's definitive. It means it feels right. I don't know if that makes any sense. So I'll give you an example.
Yep.
Diana is aware of this because she was on my webinar last night. And I had been, so this was my first webinar. It was a free webinar. It was meant to put myself out there in a different way, on a using technology I had not used before, a webinar. That's a whole other ball of wax. And I wanted to repurpose my signature talk that I'd had before around the 5 feminine blocks and push it further. So I had a lot of material. And I wanted to take that to spin it off into a boot camp. And because I had a whole bunch of other things on the go and left it a bit last minute, I didn't have something I had promised in my email marketing, which was a freebie. So I went for a walk, like this is at 12 noon on the day that I'm doing the frickin' webinar, okay? So just, anyway. And something said to me, you know what? If people make the time to be there live, offer them the boot camp that you want to promote for free, which is what I did. And you know what? That was clarity for me because it felt good. I still didn't know how the hell I would make it happen technologically, and how do I make a promise to the people online and have it for the replay and not promise it to people who weren't there and all that stuff. But I had clarity of purpose, or the direction I was going in. I still didn't know how I would make it happen, but it didn't matter. It felt good.
Good.
So, sorry, really long-winded, but that's how it happened. That was clarity.
Okay. That's okay. And that's a great example of clarity, like in the moment kind of thing. So what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for bigger picture clarity. And that's my fault for not being specific. And so here's another question. What drives each of you to get up every morning to do what you do? Who's going to chime in? I'm sure it's not the fact that well, maybe it is. I don't know. Is it the fact that you're getting a paycheck or you're earning some money? Is it what is it that inspires you and motivates you and keeps you going when you've had a tough day or every day to bounce out of bed? What is that thing?
For me would be, I know I can help people, so that moves my butt into doing something about it.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Anybody
I'm
else?
basically along the same lines as well. What it is I feel a very strong desire to help my clients change the way they live. And so that gets me up in the morning. It helps me to know that I'm doing something good to contribute, make a difference in this world. And so, yeah, that's one of the motivators for me.
Cool. Anybody else? She's going to be a smart ass. I have to.
For me, clarity is all about having a vision of where I want to go. And I think that all kind of falls in line with the business plan that I put together so that it would drive me in that particular direction. But what happens is when you have a business plan that outlines where you're going and what you're trying to achieve with your business, either on a short-term basis or on a long-term basis, all of the decisions that come forward throughout the day or throughout the week or the month are easily answered with a yes or a no, simply because we understand clearly whether or not it falls within our vision. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out, and it helps us to stay focused.
Cool.
So that to me is a clarity.
Right. So that's sort of down the path. And what I wanted to talk about today was that most of you have probably heard me talk about, having a vision for your business for 3 to 5 years. And over the last month, I've had some of my own hit the back of my head, smarten up, Diana, clarity. And one of the things that I realized is that, and so I'm throwing this out as a question, I think, is it the clarity about what you want your business to do? And, Michelle mentions a business plan, or is it the clarity about the lifestyle that you want to build?
I think what it is a combination of those things. I think the plan is supposed to bring you toward the lifestyle. I think what worked for me is I ended up establishing my core values of what I wanted to do in my life. And I think probably more so than now, more than ever, it was about asking the right questions. What was going to make me happy? What do I feel like I need to achieve in my lifetime? And my business is simply the means of me doing that. So that's, for me, that's how it all came about.
Right.
It became my lifestyle is going to follow what I'm doing in my business. Or my business is going to be the means that I'm going to achieve the lifestyle I'm hoping to achieve. That's probably better said.
Right. Okay. And this is the point that I had to bring myself back to. So who else, any thoughts on this, what Michelle said from some other people? Okay. So Natasha, for instance, I'm going to pick on you because which are you building first, the lifestyle or the business? What is your motivator?
I'd say for me, it's the lifestyle.
Okay.
Because I've done the 9 to 5, 5 days a week thing. I've done the 9 to 5 part-time thing. And now I just want it to be on my time.
Perfect. And Doreen says it's what I want to be, how I want to feel, and who I want to be with. And that's totally where I'm coming from, is that this lifestyle, and this is what I'm, going to bare my soul here, is that I feel I lost track of. What was it that I wanted to create? It wasn't, I got too focused, I personally think, got too focused on the business and forgot about this is the lifestyle. This is how I want to feel. This is where I want to get joy from. And so it has had me look at a lot of different things over the last month or two. And I remember starting my business thinking, this is the lifestyle I want. I want to build a business that fits into that. And I think many of us forget that. And I was going to use some people that perhaps even aren't here on the call today, that perhaps they haven't, what is the clarity of the lifestyle that they want? So I think, Natasha, you're getting really clear on the type of clarity you want for your lifestyle, right? And I think you're a great example of that.
That was the whole driving force between about the move and everything too. So, yeah.
So I think you are clear, and then when you are clear, then it's easy to make decisions in your business, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, much easier.
Yeah.
So, like Michelle, Michelle and I have worked together for some time. And so I know Michelle has, your business seems to have gone kind of like this at times. And you have gotten, ill at times. Would you say that would be correct?
Yes.
So, and when we have illness and burnout and things like that, that is typically a symptom that we are not living, our business isn't congruent with the lifestyle that we want. And so if we aren't getting the success that we want, sometimes those things aren't congruent. So how can we change that to be congruent? And that's sort of the process that I've gone through. Anybody else ideas like that?
Well, I think that's one of the things that I've been evaluating as well. It's about asking the right questions now. It's
right.
About what I want out of life, and what kind of a lifestyle I want, and all
right.
of these things. And how does that impact my business? And what plans do I need to put in place to give me the short-term lifestyle I want, as well as the long-term lifestyle?
Perfect. And I was talking to I was speaking to a networking group yesterday, and I was telling the story of, when I put together my retail store, I had a business plan, the old-fashioned business plan that's, was 10 pages of financial projections, 1 year, 3 years, 90 days, 5 years, whatever, all kinds of market research and that sort of thing. And that was really for the bank to get a loan. But even today, my understanding is that banks aren't even looking at that. It's too much information. And, I built a very successful store, but in the end, I was burnt out. And what I didn't keep forefront in my mind was, what kind of lifestyle did I really want? And so this has brought me back to that sort of thing. And I was also talking with a mentor of mine the other day, and, we in business plans or plans for our business. So this gentleman has a $1 million business, and we were talking about this clarity, and he said, 2 years ago, or even a year ago, he never would have thought that he would be working with nonprofits and universities. He thought his ideal client was one thing, and it shifted to something else. And so I think the lesson that when I looked at that was, yes, he wanted that lifestyle. That was what was most important to him. How he got it, he allowed himself to be open to pivot or to shift for those different things. And so I think for me, and I think for a lot of other people, and I wanted your feedback, is, it's more what inspires us every single day, what is going to motivate us every single day. is not the business plan, but more the lifestyle, if we will. Doreen?
It's interesting that you say that, because I think we tend to lose track of that in business. And in what I call the woo-woo literature, right? Law of attraction and so on. Mike Dooley and Wayne Dyer and a whole bunch of people very much talk about focus on how you want it to feel.
Yeah.
And don't focus on the how.
Yeah.
So the how is how many people are going to show up in my webinar? How many people are going to show up at my live events? How big is this contract going to be and all that stuff. Whereas if we focus on, I want to work with clients who make me feel this way, who give me the creative license to create, Michelle, or who really are struggling with their processes, and I help them overcome that big struggle, Sylvie, and so on and so forth. If we focus on how we want to feel and make people feel in return, I think that leaves the doors open to going in any number of different directions, because the universe has a much better overall view of where we can go with our business. And really, we have a myopic view.
Right. I think, the how, we have to be flexible in the how, and be open to the opportunities that are there. Hey, Shani, good morning or good afternoon. How you doing?
Good. Sorry, I was just dealing with a client.
No problem. We're talking about clarity and focus, and we're talking about clarity of long-term, clarity about lifestyle that we want to build, as opposed to the actual how or the actual business plan. So the talk that I created for this networking group was 5 reasons to ditch your business plan and what to focus on instead. And which was really kind of funny, because this was a group of not my typical clients. Because when you go to a networking group, right, you never know who's going to be there. So there was everything from a plumber to a mortgage consultant, a digital marketer, I'm just going around the room, somebody who owned a vineyard, an accountant, and a holistic nutritionist. So, and a real estate agent. And so, I talked about these 5 reasons why you don't need really today, and especially with those of us who are starting businesses that don't require a bank investment or an investor. We focus, or I have in the past, I think, focused too much on the how and not enough on that lifestyle that I wanted to create. So I wanted to, if it's okay, I want to share something, and I'm going to move this. We're going to see how this is going to work. And I'm going to see, okay, can you see the flip chart, or is it too far away? Hold on. Can you see?
Oh, good, no, it's clear. Yeah.
It's clear, but it's backwards, right?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Because it looks backwards to me.
Okay, no, it's right reading.
Okay. So we were talking about clarity. We're talking about focus. And so focus gives us, it's the kind of the action steps of how we, so if we have the clarity of the lifestyle, the focus is how we actually go to keep it going. So the focus is knowing which actions to take every single day. Why can't I say things succinctly like that? Right? So I thought this was really cool. I read this article. When you get into a car, you have a starting place and a destination, a map or a GPS. Clarity is where you want to be, or where you want to go. Focus is doing what you need to do to get the car to the destination. So I want to share with you something that I've been working on, because it's created a shift for me. No, I got it backwards. Hold on. So this is what I call the clarity matrix. And as I said, this has been something that I've been working on for the last couple of months, and really something that I've known all along, but something that I've actually just started to focus on. So what I see in terms of clarity is that I have seen that there's really like 4 different stages that entrepreneurs have of clarity. And so that's what I'm going to go through right now. And the first stage of clarity is what I call unknowing. So you're in the state of unknowing, basically, when you don't know what kind of lifestyle that you want to create, but you have no idea that that's even something that's important. And so, for instance, these are very often people who start a business just because they want a paycheck, for instance. And you know you're in that state of unknowing when you're in the daily doing, the daily grind, that survival mode, that hustle, that doing the marketing, doing the admin, doing everything. And you put your head down and every day looks the same, but your bank accounts aren't growing. And you know you're in this state when you're really feeling frustrated. It's like you've created a job for yourself. So that's the state of unknowing. And then there are some people who've progressed and they get to the state of ambiguity. And so you're in the state of ambiguity when you have some idea that there's more to life than your job that you've created for yourself, and you want more than survival, but you really don't know the specifics. You know you want more freedom, more money, more whatever, but you use that word more all the time. But you're still focused on more, getting more clients, getting more sales, and you're still in that doing mode. You're in that mode when you still feel frustrated because you haven't got it quite yet. The third stage of clarity or unclarity would be what I call en route. And these are people that are really, they're starting to get really excited because they're starting to get that vision of what they want to create in terms of a lifestyle. But the thing is that it still feels way out there in the future somewhere. Like, oh my God, I'm never going to reach it, that lifestyle. It seems like a myth almost. So these are people who, for instance, you might be in this stage if you're starting to think about, okay, the lifestyle I want, for instance, I live in a different house. And that lifestyle I want maybe, so you start looking at different houses, or that lifestyle you want has, what is the E? They're en route. They're in progress. And if anybody has any better names for these, I welcome them. So they're en route. And they're starting to, if you're in this, you're giving yourself permission to dream about it, this lifestyle that you want. But it still feels far away. And then there's a real dividing line here where everything shifts. And these are the people, this small little group, who have absolute clarity. And they have absolute clarity about what success feels like, looks like, and is for them. And it might be, I say it might be the flexibility, it might be the freedom, it might be the finances, and I'm going to add a 4th F for Doreen, and maybe this is going to become part of it, feelings. There we are, okay? So these people here, they know specifically what that is, and they live very clearly with intention about creating that specific lifestyle. So in their businesses, so if you have this absolute clarity, in their businesses, they're actually only doing the things that give them this. They don't worry about the admin and maybe not the marketing and maybe not the sales. They are doing whatever their gifts are. Okay? So they have become a leader in their business. And this is where they truly wear that CEO hat. And they're making enough money now that they actually are living that. So here's where life is good. And they have, it's a knowing feeling that they have, that they're actually, they have that clarity. Typically what happens is in these three stages, this is where businesses are built by, I call it in reactive mode. They're built by accident, whereas here you're building your business really by design. So I want to just take this one step further and about money. Now tell me if you can see down here. Can you see this? No? Okay, I'm going to tilt this a little more. Can you see it now? Yes?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And turn it a bit more towards yourself too, because you're cut out.
Okay, well, I'm not that important, but you can hear me.
No, but you know.
Thank you.
I'm a visual. Thank you.
All right. So if we go back to the unknowing stage here, remember these are people that are in survival mode. And, you know, we're going to talk about what their businesses look like. And the common denominator is money. And so these are people who are making a little bit of money by accident. And then we move to those people who are in the state of ambiguity. They know it's more than just survival mode. And so they're starting to make a bit more money, but they're still earning way below their potential. Those people en route, they're starting to get that clarity. It's still not clear, but it's coming. And then, of course, those people that have absolute clarity, those are the ones. Success comes from the motivation and from the inspiration of the lifestyle that they want. Okay. And the C's have, sorry, Sylvie, what does that mean? And the C's have great systems in place.
That's right. They know what they want, how to get it.
Right,
So,
and they have systems in place. Okay, I get it. Now I get it.
Gotcha.
Okay, perfect. Yes. So my question is for you. Doreen's already answered it. I don't need to know which one of these categories you're in, but by a show of hands, can you self-identify which category you are in? Okay, Doreen said yes. Michelle? Shani? Okay, second question is, and sorry, wait a minute. Val, did you raise your hand? You didn't raise your hand. Okay, we have some work to do. Okay, all right. Next question is, are you where you want to be? Raise your hand if you are where you want to be. Okay. Cool. All right. Thank you. This is a test. This is a model that I've been working on for about a month and a half. All right. So in order to get where you want to be, and again, I'm looking for your feedback about how this feels for you. I've got 4 F's. So we're going to talk about, this is the lifestyle that you want to create and getting clarity on that. what would it take for you to get clarity on the lifestyle that you want? Who feels that they do not have clarity about what they want to create in terms of lifestyle? Raise your hand. Okay. Shani, want to unmute yourself?
Sorry, ask that question again.
Okay. Do you have clarity about the type of lifestyle that you want to build and how your business would fit into that lifestyle? Because that's the whole point of the process.
I have clarity, I believe, of the type of lifestyle I want, and how my business is fitting into it potentially.
Okay. Okay. That's good. Now that's good. The 4 F's were freedom. So freedom could be time freedom, could be location freedom, flexibility, so that you can be flexible, finances, and feelings. Okay? So I would say most of you have this lifestyle defined. The second step to that is, what do you want your business to look like that would fit this way? So the way to reverse engineer it would be, how much does my business have to pay me so that I can live that lifestyle? Do you know how much your business has to pay you for that lifestyle? Raise hands.
I know how much. It's just how to get there, how to work the business to get there.
Okay.
I'm working on that.
All right. So you're quite clear about how much it has to pay you.
Yes.
To live that lifestyle. Okay. The next is, I break it down into 3. The first one is M. And I'm calling this mindset because I couldn't think of another word to attach to it. This is where we need to shift from the doing to the CEO. Okay? So if any of you have ever read The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, okay, right? That's the philosophy. We have to shift from the doing to put on our CEO hats. We have to shift from, I listened to somebody in her webinar and she said and she was talking to wellness professionals. Most wellness professionals, they have this passion hat that they wear. And they're really passionate about what it is they want to do and how they want to help people. And they have to take that hat off and put on the CEO hat. And the CEO hat this is where the CEO is. Would a CEO be doing this work? Now, I know that there are stages in your business where you can't afford to, but the way would be, how can you get so that you can delegate, you can put on the CEO hat more often? So the first is mindset. The second is leverage. And the leverage is about leveraging the talents of others. And here's the question to ask. It's not how do I get it done, but how can it get done? Do you want me to repeat that? It's not how do I get it done? It's how can it get done? So how can I find other people to do it? How can I leverage systems? So for instance, you know that I go out and I do a lot of speaking. Well, that is leveraging, because it's not I'm not gathering those people. I'm gathering the talents of other people are gathering the people. So I'm leveraging that. I'm not holding workshops. I'm going out and speaking where someone else has done the work. Okay, that's just one example. Questions? No? Okay. And the last is what I call CRA. Now this got quite the chuckle yesterday. So CRA, Canada Revenue Agency, but that's not what it stands for. It stands for consistently the right activities for your stage of business growth. Okay? Doreen still missed the 4. Fine. Oh, geez. Okay. I'm going to write them out, Doreen. So we have freedom. We have flexibility, finances, and feeling. Okay? So when we get all of these right, that's when we truly, truly wear the CEO hat and where we truly get that lifestyle. But most businesses are stuck here. They can't hop over that line. That's where most businesses get stuck. Questions? I'm just going to go here. What would you consider, I'd like everybody to give me an example of something that you should be doing, like the CRA activity you should be doing for your stage of business growth. Who knows something? Who knows what the networking? Yahoo! Right.
I was going to say the same thing. Way to go, Natasha.
All right. Right. So for those of you who have read my book, for those of you who have, I'm going back to, sorry, oh, I guess it's in the car. When I came home yesterday, it was pouring rain, so I left it in the car, but you'll have to excuse my drawing because that's why I have it printed, because this often doesn't look very good. It looks too phallic. So stage 1 is here. This is what I call the glorified employee. And now Sylvie has actually helped me put this in a very pretty chart. And at this stage, right, this is where we feel those emotions of, oh my God, you know, the cash flow is on a roller coaster, and so our emotions are on a roller coaster. This is typically building our business for those of you in a coaching type setting is like 0 to 75,000. Okay. Now, Michelle is going to be a little different, because you're actually paying out a lot for consulting services. But those of you who don't have big expenses, then 0 to 75,000 should be about what the business pays you. Okay. So this is where you focus on what I say, creating cash, covering your expenses, connections, and getting the clarity that you need. Now, clarity here is more about your messaging than anything else, right? So you guys have gone through a lot of this, and you know, you focus on networking, getting testimonials, and networking could be, you know, a variety of different things. But here's what I find is a lot of entrepreneurs need here is a lot of training about how to run their business. They also might need the help of a virtual assistant, maybe a web designer, maybe a graphics designer, but those are all just part-time. I've made a list of things that we don't need. And, you know, I wish I'd known this, you know, myself. But we don't need a 5-page website when we start out. A 1-page website with lots of testimonials that you can keep adding to would be amazing, right? We don't need a podcast. We don't need, when we start out, webinars. We don't need all kinds of paid social media, group programs, paid traffic, hosting large events, et cetera, et cetera. But what we do need to work on here is we need to work on our premium signature program. We need to know about networking. We need to know about follow-up. We need to know about sales. That's what we need to know here. Okay? Then when we move on to stage number 2, so that's a glorified employee because really we feel like we've created a job for ourselves. The second,
And Diana, sorry, I think you need to, you also, as a new business, need to learn how to systemize your business.
I would say
To a certain extent.
At this level, it's more about learning the premium, your signature program, about following up with Facebook, but systems are it's really hard at this point to put systems into place, especially when you're down here. Systems are going to be as you move closer to this.
Yes, but you can also kind of keep your eyes open to see. You can systemize in a way, sorry, it's just difficult to word this out, but you can systemize in a way where to keep your eyes and ears open to really pay attention to what is working and what isn't working, and to write that down.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
That's what I mean by systemizing.
Right.
By having your systems.
So as you move closer to this, which is called the manager level, you know, so this is like 75,000 to, you know, I'm going to say 150, you know, 200,000. This is where it's really about creating systems. Okay, because now you're going to have some money to hire some people to pay for some systems, and you're going to focus on, you know, that leveraging, the delegating, and creating the systems. In this,
Diana, so sorry to interrupt you, but the numbers that you put there, is that relative to income or sales?
it's more about
Or salary?
Yeah, it's more about kind of salary, what the business pays you. In terms of coaching, because people in the coaching business, for instance, their expenses, other than training and that sort of thing, take up a smaller portion than, for instance, someone like you. Okay? And that's why I say it has to be kept relevant. You know, somebody has inventory, so it's going to be very different. Okay? So in the manager level, you're still going to need that training, because one of the biggest challenges I find for entrepreneurs is to learn, especially solo entrepreneurs, is how to delegate, right? It's our baby. We grew it. We don't want to let go. So delegating is really hard for them to learn. How can you leverage? In here, you start leveraging by public speaking, maybe creating group programs, where down here you're doing one-on-ones. Okay. Speaking is what you really add in here, and creating a signature talk, etc. You know, you might do videos. That's something else that you have to learn. Yeah, the emotions here are that resistance to delegate, and I speak from experience. And there still feels like there's lots to do, but this is probably the level of business where you are making the most profit. This is where you are making money, but you don't have time to spend it. And that's why you have to work on leveraging and delegating. Okay? When you get up to the next level, which is the CEO, so that's about really relying on your team and building a business culture, if you will, that is based on your core values, because that's what you're really building, is something that's your core values, your lifestyle that you want to build. And if you can continue that up through here, then those people as team members will share those same core values with you and become, start building that culture in businesses. At the CEO level, this is where you really focus on doing what your superpower, your gift. And you don't worry about the admin and different things because you have a team to rely on. Okay? And then we get up to the fourth level, which is legacy, which is people who, this is, could be like, sort of up to the 500,000. This is, the $1 million plus mark. Their concern up here is maybe an exit strategy, how to diversify, and how to keep ahead of the competition. So, if you remember Blockbuster, they didn't keep ahead of the competition, so they disappeared. And that's what needs to happen up there. But when you focus on the specific things for your actions, for your stage of business growth, it really helps simplify, and you can push all those other things aside and you don't have to worry about them. Okay? So who has, I do have a PDF on this, and I can send it out. I'll attach it to the email about the 4 stages. But I'm first going to have Sylvie change the title of it, and that's okay. Who has or snowman with a top hat? Okay, cool. Who has questions about any of this? I'm going to go back over here, so I can plug my computer back in, because I just wanted to, again, it was that having the clarity of what you want to build and to be reminded of it and to keep it forefront. That is the thing that, and I'll speak for myself, I lost that. And when we lose that, we don't get off, well, we do get off track. We do get off track. And all of a sudden, something will bring us back on track. And it doesn't mean that lifestyle your vision for your lifestyle can't change either. Michelle?
The way that I'm thinking about trying to keep on track is through the vision board and little cards and things like that. We've talked about that, you and I, before. Any other suggestions on keeping it in the forefront?
So there's an exercise that I did years ago. We've touched on it kind of in various events. And I talk about the perfect day. What does the perfect day look like in your business or in your life? And Peggy McCall taught this to me, and it's about, what does your perfect lifestyle look like? And you should write out a story about it. And you should revisit that every single day. And maybe the challenge is to spend a week and every single day look at it for 10 minutes. And how can you improve the story that you're writing? And so I went to HomeSense, and I go to HomeSense and I buy these journals, usually for, I don't know, $5 or $6. And I usually have a whack of them around. And so I picked one. And so this is the journal that I'm using to, not daily, but I did it daily for a while, to rewrite that. And the process of writing also helps embed it. So really write out what it is that you want. Yes, Shani, go ahead.
You had actually said that often people get stuck between the business and the mindset, leverage, CRE.
Yep.
When they do, how do they get past it?
Okay.
Like if you get stuck there, how do you go past?
How do you go past? Then you have to consider those three things. Which one of those three things are you not focusing on, or are you not doing? Would be my question. Right? So the question would be, so let's talk about your business. Do you have enough support in your business to step back from some of the doing?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't been leveraging properly.
Leveraging it's the mindset, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things I was thinking of, I'm going to get pink hats for everybody, and it's going to say CEO. And so that you ask yourself every single day, would a CEO be doing this? Would a CEO be doing this? Maybe not. So is Val here? Okay. So one of the things that I did in the last week or two is that I love paper. I would rather read something printed like that than read it online. And my kids think I'm crazy, but I come from an older generation where we didn't read online. So when I read somebody's blog or something that I really like, or I want to use it for inspiration, I print it. So do you know what that causes? Piles of paper on my floor because I don't spend time filing it. And it's been bothering me really for the last months. So I hired Val to come, and she helped. So she appears in the morning with a filing box all labeled out, totally labeled. And I go, well, how will my files fit into that? So just a minute. And she has a system that everybody's files fit into. And so, for instance, she has a section on legal, marketing and advertising, operations, government, finance, financials, and human resources. And so my resistance was, well, mine isn't going to fit into that. And yes, she showed me how it would. And so that's an example of, not only leveraging, but doing something that I shouldn't be spending my time creating files. And then she showed me, what I could do to keep on top of it every single day. And so I made the commitment that at the end of every day, I would spend 5 to 10 minutes before I left my office, and I would file that paperwork. Now, you can't see my desk right now, but my desk is just about clean.
Yay!
And there are no piles of paper on the floor. So that was a huge, huge, huge accomplishment for me. And it's just an example of A, shifting that mindset, B, leveraging the talents of someone else for the way I do my business. Not everybody is going to do their business the same way. So, my challenge to you is, what can you do to shift your business over that line? What can you do? Is there something that came to mind right away? for each of you? Don't everybody talk at once.
I should have somebody else doing my website.
Ta-da!
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I should have somebody else doing my website.
Right. Yeah, we should have someone else do us. And you know, when it comes to website, because how much time have you spent doing that?
Not that much time, but a lot of energy postponing.
Okay, there we are. It's sucking the energy out, and yeah, it's not getting done. So put on your CEO hat, and it doesn't have to be expensive. That's what I want to get across is for the stage of business that you're at, we have to be sometimes satisfied with things like done is better than none. How many times have we heard me say that, right? Done is better than none because you're going to change it. It's just like business cards. You're going to change them a bazillion times. I just hired one of my other clients and I looked back at all my branding and I went, oh, Christ, it's all over the place here. And so I'm hired someone to help me make my branding across everything much more consistent. Not that a lot is going to change, but it has to be more consistent. So the business card, the banners at the events, my social media headers, all of that. But when you're first starting out, you do what you do, right? And then you get to a certain level and you go, oh, okay, now it's time to invest back into the business. So who else has something that they could shift in their business to get them over that line?
I know I do.
Okay, Shannon, what?
I think, Sylvia, I'm going to hire you to help me with some systems.
I'm in.
After I get back from holiday.
There you go.
Okay.
Good. When are you going on holiday, Shani?
A week tomorrow.
Cool. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Where are you going?
Canada's Wonderland down to Niagara Falls, doing the kids thing. Yeah.
Good. Good. Okay. Systems. So somebody else, what are you going to do to wear that CEO hat?
I outsource a lot of things in my business, but I think one of the areas that we're quite weak at is the way everything is filed electronically, where we put files in 5 folders and we're on a shared system so that everybody can work on the same system. And it doesn't always work, and we've got a lot of challenges related to that. And even though we've gone through the process of trying to revamp our work in process systems, okay, it seems like it's not consistently being followed through in the computer because of different changes of the way we think. And so it's figuring out right now, one of our biggest challenges is finding what we're looking for. I was looking for a document the other day and it took me 15 minutes. That is such a waste of time. Right. Shaima, one of the designers that works for me, she was looking for a document and she couldn't find it at all. She found another form that was not the same form I had showed her online. So it's kind of wrapping it and bringing it all together. And that's where it's a challenge, actually, because we've got to make that consistent with what we've got on the thing, but like physically in terms of our filing. So help.
All right. So this is why
you do that.
Yes. And so Val worked with me with this filing system. And the second stage is to take this same filing system and put it on your computer. So the same place where you file things paper, you would have the same type of file on your computer. Now,
Okay.
Val can explain it to you. You want to reach out to Val? I mean, it is different thinking in my mind about where things are located. So I took another copy of what she gave me and I had to write on it like little notes. Now I know that eventually I'll know exactly where things are, but for now it's not the way my head was working, so I had to create my own little cheat sheet. So yeah, I think that might be helpful. So you guys could connect. All right. What else? Who else has something that is a challenge? Natasha, I know you're going to be moving. So
Yes.
and is where you are now, is that sold or
Yes.
no?
Yeah. So we have 2 houses right now for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So I'm all over the place between trying to do all my work stuff and trying to paint the new house and trying to pack up this house. I'm kind of all over the place.
Right.
But like what you were saying earlier about getting a clear view of the lifestyle, that's kind of where I'm at. Like I've got the lifestyle kind of figured out. It's just working towards getting there. So I think for me, it's just consistently doing the right things. So specifically, you know, I have to sit down and think about what specifically that is. I mean,
Right.
it'll networking Facebook stuff for now, just because of the level that I'm at. Like I'm still not, I mean, I took a kind of a dip when I took the sick leave. So, you know, I'm kind of starting over again. But, I feel less worried about it now because I know what to do.
Sorry, I just had to answer something because I'm supposed to be on a podcast interview at 2:00, he said, but now he's just writing me saying, I'm logging on now. And I'm going, it's only 1:00 here. He's from the West Coast, so maybe he made some time errors. Anyway.
Oh,
yeah. So, you know, I know you're in a busy time right now, but the more you can sit down and start writing out.
Yeah, that's actually, I wrote that down. That's what I have to do as homework, is to really sit down and write it out. And
yeah,
honestly, like that sick leave that I had to take is really what triggered all this thoughts of what do I really want? Where do I want to be? Like, Doreen asked me earlier, like where I'm moving and why. And I was like, well, it's really the lifestyle. I'm from a small town. I'm sick of living in, like, I don't live in downtown, but I'm sick of living in like a big suburb. I want to live in a small town again. And because that's where, how I want to feel, where I want to be, that's where I am. And I quickly realized that where I was, 3-4 months ago, was not where I wanted to be, both professionally and, you know, in my personal life. So it really triggered a lot of, you know, reflection and everything. And it's been good for the business, even though it tanked my business.
Yeah. And that's okay. Because it's like a wake up. Well, I'll call it a wake up call, but
for
like
sure.
the universe knocking on your door going, excuse me.
More like the universe knocked down my door and ran me over, but you know.
Yeah.
I got the point, finally.
And truthfully, I think that's what I lost track of for me, because I've always known that I wanted this location independent business. And yet when I look back, I go, here I am creating these events that are not location independent. And I'm going like, Diana, really? Like, so I was moving away from what I wanted to create. So I've had to, bring it back.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, anybody else? I'm still here, but I'm hiding myself and I can't unhide. Okay. I think you were eating lunch, Doreen. So yeah, was this conversation about clarity and focus and lifestyle useful? What else do you have to add? What can I help you do? So just shout out. Yes.
I think it was really good, because it's right where I'm at right now. What I'm wondering about, and I know Michelle was talking about core values, do you have any resources or something that can help you sit down and identify your core values or anything?
Yes, I do, for sure.
I know it's something similar at Marketing Magic. It was an online thing, but I don't know that I have the link anymore.
Okay, so I can send you the core values exercise.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Me too, please.
Yep. And just so that you know, I'm taking Marketing Magic, which was that 2-day workshop. And I'm in the process of turning it into an online program.
Nice.
So that, so that I can be more location independent. And I'm going to offer it to my list. I've sold it for a couple of people at different speaking events, but I'm going to, it's going to be a hybrid course. So it's going to be online. So it's going to be like a secret page on my website for right now, until I get it, all figured out. But so it'll be like 6 modules. And then I will hold what I call office hours twice a month for people to come on and get their questions answered. So it would be like this for office hours, and there would be twice a month I would do it. And people can either come on or not come on, but that's how they can get the feedback from me. I probably at the end of, I will at the end of June offer this out to the list for like $197, which is like nothing. And it will normally probably sell for like $497. But the idea is that those people to, at $197, it's okay, you have to promise to give me some feedback.
But it's still going to be in a group. It's not going to be private.
They can, because it's online like that, they'll be able to do it whenever.
Oh, okay.
And they will basically get lifetime access to that, but they will only have, because it's online, they can access it anytime. So there'll be videos, there'll be MP3s, there'll be workbooks that they can download. And it'll be 6 modules. They can do it whatever length of time they want, but they will only get access to the office hours for a month. You look puzzled.
I am. I'm like totally lost. Sorry.
Okay.
I think I'll wait till it comes in. I'll read it and then I'll get back to you on that.
So, yeah. So basically there will be, as I said, 6 modules.
Yeah.
And there's be a video. And then there'll be like a recording. So let's say the first one is about, let's say one of them is about figuring out
core values, I'd say.
Or your target market, right? So there'll be a little video, there'll be an MP3 talking about it, there'll be a workbook, there'll be some exercises. And then, okay, they've done that. And if they still haven't been able to figure it out, they can come online. I think it's Thursday at 10 o'clock. I'll be there and I'll be able to answer their questions and give them some feedback.
Okay.
Okay. Then they can go back and do 1 or 2 more of these modules. One of the last modules would be about creating their infomercial or how they introduce themselves. And again, they could come back online at another time and ask me some more questions.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what I mean by a hybrid, because I feel that in terms of messaging like this, you need some feedback. So that's
Diana,
yes.
will that kind of address the money mindset, the leverage, the CRA? Like, I don't remember. I'm just trying to picture what your modules kind of thing will be like.
Okay, so marketing magic was really about getting clear on your target market, your niche, and your messaging.
Okay.
The mindset, the leveraging, and the the CRA was more about what we did in the Achievers Club.
Okay, and the accelerator, I can't, like, what was that one?
Okay, so I did the sales accelerator, which was kind of a test, and that was about money. It was about addressing sabotaging money issues and that sort of thing.
And that would be more like the mindset stuff, right? That's what we did?
We did a lot on, in the sales accelerator, how to do a sales conversation, how to raise prices, and that type of thing. Yeah.
But somewhere along the line, we worked on the money mindset, which I think it was really valuable.
Okay.
So I guess that's just one plug for that in your moving forward.
Yeah. So moving forward, again, I'm trying to keep things, trying to do what I teach. So what is my signature program? My signature program is the Achievers Club. And then my downsell is Marketing Magic. Marketing Magic. And so by making the Achievers Club, the next Achievers Club, a year long, we will address more of that in the Achievers Club.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay. Because I found that, and please feel free to give me your feedback, but I found that the Achievers Club, it was like there was a lot of doing in it, not enough time for kind of synthesizing it and getting over roadblocks that might come up and that sort of thing.
I actually really liked the Achievers Club, and I liked the doing. Yep. And I found that once it was done, it was kind of like, oh, like the wind out of the sails kind of thing. So the Momentum Mastermind, I think, kind of started slower, but I'm finding now it's getting better.
Good. Okay.
So that's my 2 cents.
No, I appreciate it. And that's what I need to hear back from people is, their 2 cents kind of thing. Next month, I thought that we might go back and revisit your premium signature program. Would that be worthwhile? Shani? I know it's not quite up your line.
Yeah, that's always been kind of hard for me to I'm not sure.
Okay. And that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, did Doreen go?
Yeah, she said she had to leave.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, but so when we're talking about premium signature program next month, Shani, in the back of your mind, you can start thinking about, instead of a program, it's a talk.
Okay.
And who is your real ideal client? And what would what do they need to hear from you in order for them to work with you?
right from the get-go, when you had me on the hot seat, and it came out that my ideal client is working with the vulnerable populations, that does resonate with me. And when I do my introduction, I have a hard time trying to fit that in wording wise. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So when we come back next month, let's put it in that perspective for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because a premium signature program is, how do you get the best results or the best outcomes for your clients? Now, most of you, and even Shani, you do the same thing virtually with every client, and a module or two changes along the way, depending on the client. But your thought process is basically the same. And so Doreen, for instance, she has a 5-step process for getting out of the love business trap. And so when she proposed it, and when I first saw her deliver it, I suggested that maybe she turn it into, yes, it was 5 steps, but she just needed to turn it into an acronym that was easy to follow. So on her webinar, she had her 5 steps turned into an acronym. Okay. Now, Shani, if you had a step-by-step process, because I know you do, in your mind, that you could explain very simply to the vulnerable, that would give them the confidence to use you as opposed to some other real estate agent. And then you can say, for instance, that this is your intellectual property. So all of you have $1 million worth of intellectual property up there. Those models that I was using are going to be intellectual property. But each of you has that information in you. You have more than that because you're all experts in your field. So Shani, I suspect that your business is at the point where, are you networking on a regular basis?
Yes, on a monthly basis.
Okay.
This spring has been busy, very busy, which is good. But I still do get in the networking.
Right. Good. So I'm just thinking, like, if you went to networking and said, I have this trademark. We don't have to say it's trademark, but I walk people through this program or system or blueprint to help them find the exact right home for them. You would stand out amongst every other real estate agent.
Right. Okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Give me something to think about on holiday.
Would you, so like that step-by-step process, would you consider that kind of like the signature program?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm kind of in the same boat as Shani, where signature program doesn't really work just because of the college that regulates what I do and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So I was leaning more towards the signature talk, but I'm slowly starting to realize that, especially with what you were saying about like a step-by-step process, like, yeah, I feel like that finally just clicked in my head that like,
woohoo!
That like as much as what I do will differ from person to person.
Exactly.
But it only took me a year, Diana, but I'm finally getting there.
And that's okay. And that's okay because sometimes you're just not ready.
Yeah.
right? And so you could call it a blueprint, a formula, whatever.
Yeah,
we do.
My mind is already going here, so that was good. Thank you, Shani.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? All right, so next month is should be the 12th of July, okay, at noon. And Natasha and Shani, I'll send you those core values. And I will send everybody the PDF about the 4 stages of business growth after I get Sylvie just to retitle it. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
We're good? All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I'll stop the recording.